In the quaint village of Ellerston, nestled between lush green hills and shimmering streams, lived a cobbler named Alaric. Alaric wasn't just any cobbler. He was known throughout the land as the cleverest of them all. He had a small, cozy shop that stood at the corner of the bustling market square, where the aroma of freshly baked bread mingled with the crisp, clean air of the countryside. Alaric was a man in his late 40s, with salt and pepper hair that curled around his ears and eyes the color of a stormy sea. His hands were calloused from years of crafting shoes, yet they moved with the grace of a maestro conducting an unseen symphony. To the villagers, his shop was a place of enchantment where magic seemed to linger in the air, for Alaric could fix almost anything and create shoes that seemed to have a life of their own. The secret to Alaric's prowess wasn't just his skill, but rather a mysterious ancient book that had been passed down through generations. This tome contained secrets of shoemaking that went beyond leather and nails. It whispered the art of imbuing shoes with qualities that exceeded the mundane. A pair that made you run as fast as the wind, shoes that danced on their own, or sandals that seemed to wear themselves out of sheer comfort. One chilly autumn morning, as leaves painted the cobblestone paths with hues of amber and crimson, a wealthy merchant named Leland visited Alaric's shop. Leland, a shrewd man with a penchant for opulence, needed a pair of shoes unlike any other to impress the king himself at the upcoming banquet. He offered Alaric a hefty sum to create shoes that would astound everyone at the royal court. Alaric accepted the challenge, not for the gold, but for the thrill of creation. He pored over his ancient book, seeking the perfect enchantment. For days and nights, the glow from Alaric's shop was seen as he worked tirelessly, sewing, hammering, and chanting words in a language lost to all but him. Finally, on the eve of the king's banquet, the shoes were ready. The shoes were a masterpiece of craftsmanship and magic, made of the finest leather, soft as a whisper, and adorned with intricate patterns that shimmered like starlight. Leland couldn't hide his elation as he slipped into his extraordinary footwear. They were not just shoes, they were a statement, a marvel to behold. At the royal banquet, Leland strutted across the opulent halls, each step echoing with a melody known only to him. Courtiers and nobles turned their heads, whispering in awe. The king himself was mesmerized as Leland performed a dance that seemed to defy gravity, each movement fluid and graceful beyond measure. However, as the dance peaked, Leland found the shoes taking control. What began as a graceful waltz turned into a frantic jig, and then a dizzying whirl. Laughter filled the halls as Leland spun wildly, unable to stop, while the king watched in amused confusion. The enchantment, it seemed, had a playful side. Realizing the shoes were indeed enchanted more than intended, Leland sought the cobbler's help once more. Alaric had foreseen such an event, and with a knowing smile, he whispered a secret word to the shoes. Instantly, they settled and returned to normalcy. Leland was embarrassed, but the king, thoroughly entertained, declared that any man who could dance himself into such a frenzy was worthy of reward. Alaric returned to his shop, content with having brought joy and a lesson in humility to someone who often took life too seriously. The villagers continued to speak of Alaric, the clever cobbler whose shoes could bring both marvel and mischief, to those with the heart to wear them. And thus the legend of Alaric grew, a tale of magic, with humour and humanity woven into every stitch, leaving the villagers and those beyond to wonder what magic their own souls might step into next.